Hello, I'm Caitlin. I'll be guiding you through a 20 or so minute restorative yoga sequence. This practice is great in the beginning or the end of the day. It also is good before or after a workout if you're squeezing in some extra physical activity with your day. Everything is going to be done on the mat, laying down. We're not going to be standing up or doing anything of that nature, but if you do have a blanket and a pillow, and you can just use a regular pillow, that might come in handy for the end of class. So we'll go ahead and get started. We're going to start lying down on our back so you can come down and start to take up some space. So legs can come wide on your mat, arms can come by your sides, palms will face the ceiling. If you'd like, you can tuck the shoulder blades a little bit together to open up your heart. We'll start off with just a conscious moment to shift into your practice. So maybe observe the connection that your body has with the earth. You might notice any sounds that are coming in from around you. And as you let yourself sink a little bit closer to this present moment, I'll have you observe your breath. Noticing where the inhales start to create some space in your body, and where your exhales help you to let go and soften just a bit more. And when you're ready with your next breath in, you can start to guide the soles of your feet to the mat by bending the knees. And you'll keep your feet about hip-width distance apart. Our sequence today is going to focus primarily on the low body. And we're going to start off specifically with the low back. So bring the palms face down by your sides, and then walk the heels a little closer towards your glutes. You'll release all the air from the lungs to prepare. And with an inhale, press into your feet, start to lift the hips up off the mat, setting up for bridge pose. You can keep the palms on the mat, maybe add on a chest expansion if you'd like by grabbing opposite elbows underneath your middle back. If you want a little bit deeper for the shoulders, you could interlace your fingers underneath your hips. If you choose this option, roll the shoulder blades together to puff up your heart just a bit more. While relaxing the glutes, use your quadriceps to keep hips lifted. Keep breathing here for 3. Chest expansions release in 2. And 1, let go of your hands. Carefully guide the hips back down to the mat, 1 vertebrae at a time. Once your hips touch down, you might scoop your tailbone a little bit to help re-lengthen those lower vertebrae. And then let your toes walk away from your glutes about an inch or 2. We'll be moving into supine half pigeon from here. So cross the right ankle over the left kneecap. And you might stay here if this is enough sensation on your hips. If you want a little bit more, you can start to lift that left foot up off the mat and hug your low body in towards your chest. Now if that causes your upper body to lift up, bring the left foot back down to the mat so you can keep your upper body grounded. Find that compromise. Now whatever your shape is here today, you might stay as you are. You also might add on a little bit more by straightening through that left leg. And that'll just get into the hamstring a bit more. It's okay if you keep a bend in the knee. Maybe circle out your ankle or point and flex the toes. Take some organic movement with the smaller joints. And take 1 or 2 more full cycles of breath as they come to you. And when you're ready, start to guide that left foot back down to the mat if it's lifted. Keep the figure 4 on your legs. We'll turn this into a twist, so your whole low body will fall to the left. So your left hip will go to the ground, your right foot will follow. And then bring your arms out wide to a T to stabilize your shoulders. Now if there's any pain or pinching in this right kneecap, you could bring your knees together to touch. That'll take that tension right out. Now to complete this twist, if it feels okay on the neck, you could turn your gaze to the right side. Eyes can fall closed if they haven't yet, and come right back to your breathing. We'll take 1 or 2 more full cycles of breath as they come to you. When you're ready with an inhale, you'll start to draw your low body and your chin back to center. If that right foot is still crossed, you'll guide the right foot back to the mat, and then reset your feet back at center. So hip-width distance apart. Feet are a comfortable distance away from your glutes. You might sway the knees a little side to side if that feels good. And then when we're ready, we'll set that up on the opposite side. So left ankle crosses over the right knee. And then again, check in here. So you might take the same variation you did at the beginning. Maybe you take a different variation if something feels different. You can draw that right knee in towards your chest for some more intensity in the left hip. Maybe wrap the arms around that right kneecap if you'd like. Remember to soften through the upper body Relaxing the muscles in the back of the neck and around the eyes. You could straighten through that right leg if you'd like, adding on a little bit more for your right hamstring. Again, maybe circle out the ankle, point and flex the toes, take any organic movement that you like. We'll take 1 or 2 more full cycles of breath here. And when you're ready, that right foot will guide its way back to the mat if it's lifted. And we'll set up that twist. So this time the low body falls to the left, rather right side. Right hip goes to the ground, left foot will follow. Arms come out wide to stabilize. To complete this twist, your gaze will fall to the left. Eyes can fall closed and begin to breathe. We'll take our last 1 or 2 full breath cycles here. When you're ready, with an inhale, the low body and your chin will come back to center. Once you arrive there, left foot can come back to the mat, and then sway the knees side to side again if that feels good to you. So when you're ready from here, you'll draw the knees into the chest. Arms can wrap around your shins, give yourself a little squeeze. If it feels good on your spine, you could rock side to side for a moment, just massaging out the vertebrae. And then we'll be meeting up in a seated position. So you can either rock and roll up to a seat, or maybe roll onto your side and press up if that feels a little bit better. Once you're seated, you're going to move towards the back of your mat and find Baddha Konasana. So your soles of feet will come together to touch. You can let the knees fall apart, and then hug the heels in towards your glutes, rather towards your inner hips. And then relax the shoulders down the back as you lengthen your spine. You'll take a big inhale to prepare. Exhale, hinge from your hips, start to pull the torso forward. When you feel resistance, listen to that. And then just tuck the chin towards the chest and bring sensation all the way along the upper vertebrae. So you could close the eyes if you'd like to, soften the jaw if teeth are clenching, and come right back to your breath. Close out this shape. If you'd like to take some organic movement in the head and neck, you could rock the head a little side to side. Notice for any spots that feel especially tight or tense, you could hold there and breathe for a moment. Imagine sending your inhales to the area that holds the most tension. And with your exhale, feel some of that tension melting away. One more full cycle of breath as it comes to you. With your own inhale, slowly start to lift the chest. Let the head be the last thing to come up. And once you're upright, we'll be setting up a seated series. The left leg can stay as is. Your right leg will extend long. Now, if you want to hug that left heel in a little bit closer towards your inner thigh, you can, but then invite a micro bend into the right knee. Your fingertips will lift up to create some length in the spine. Take a big breath in here. Exhale, hinge from your hips, start to spill forward. Let your hands rest where they want to. It could be your foot, but maybe it's your calf or your ankle. And just as you did in the previous pose, you'll tuck the chin towards the chest and feel sensation in the upper vertebrae. You can close your eyes here if you'd like. We'll be here for a few breaths. As you notice this shape, as the belly's compressed, think more of breathing between the vertebrae, creating space in the spine. And with your exhales, maybe feel yourself melt just a bit more. Taking 1 or 2 more full cycles of breath as it comes to you. With your next inhale, walk the hands up your extended leg, begin to lift the chest. So once you're upright, you can switch out your legs. So left leg goes long, right leg will hug in. And again, that right heel can come in close as it wants to, and put a little micro bend in the left knee. Fingertips will lift up, take a big breath in to prepare here. And exhale, hinge from hips, spill forward. Again, it's normal for it to feel different on this side. So just observe that if you detect anything that's maybe a little asymmetrical. Just as you did before, tucking the chin towards the chest, rounding through the spine. The eyes can fall closed as you begin to breathe. 1 or 2 more full cycles of breath as they come to you. With your own inhale, start to walk the hands up your extended leg, begin to lift the chest. And once you're upright here, you're going to extend both legs long. Then move the muscles away from your sits bones so you can sit more grounded on your mat. And then just as we did before, you put that little micro bend in the knees. And when you look at your feet, they should be about hip width distance apart, so don't have the feet super close, just a comfortable distance. Like we did before, fingertips will lift. Take a breath in to prepare. Exhale, hinge from hips, start to spill forward. So your belly should touch your upper thighs. But over time in this posture, if you want to straighten the legs a little bit more, you're welcome to. And we'll be here a bit longer than we have the previous postures. But just as we've done before, tuck the chin towards the chest, involve the entire back line of your body in the pose. I'll let you know once we've made it halfway through this posture, but for now, just focus in on your breath, noticing where those inhales create space, noticing where your exhales help you to let go. This pose, yogis. You want to point your toes towards the front of the room. Shift the focus of this posture to stretch the tops of your feet. And if that doesn't feel good or maybe too intense, you don't have to do it. But listen to your body, pick what variation feels best here. Lost sight of your breath, begin to come back to it. Take 1 or 2 more full cycles of breath as they come to you. With an inhale, start to walk the hands up your extended legs, lifting your chest slowly. Awesome. All right, once you're upright, we're going to come back to Baddha Konasana, but we'll do a little different variation. So soles of feet together, knees wide. This time, push the feet away from you so you have at least a 90-degree bend in the knees. From here, you're going to kind of spill forward, and you might come forward a little bit more than you did in the previous variation. But again, letting the head hang heavy, chin towards chest, and allowing your body to soften just a bit more with each breath out. We are about halfway through this shape. You want to give your feet a little massage with your hands here for the last few breaths. You're welcome to maybe rub the thumbs on the arches of the feet. And again, coming back to your breath if you've lost it. Take 1 or 2 more full cycles of breath as they come to you. With your own breath in, you'll slowly start to lift the chest. Again, let the head be the last thing to come up. Good. All right, once you're upright, you can bring yourself more towards the center of your mat. We're going to come back down onto our backs. And if you are using a blanket or a pillow, I would just move them towards the top of your mat so you can reach them. You'll come back down to lie down. You can keep the knees bent once you are grounded, and sway the knees a little side to side, just feeling the hip points and the low back once again. Now, as we start to come back down and unwind, we're going to revisit a posture that we did at the very beginning of practice, bridge pose. And if you do have a pillow or blanket, you can use this here. Otherwise, you'll take the same variation we did at the beginning. So, palms will come face down by the sides. Feet again are about hip width distance apart, and then walk the heels close to the glutes. To prepare for the posture, release all the air from the lungs. With an inhale, press into feet, start to lift the hips up off the mat. So if you're working without a prop, you again have the option to add on a chest expansion like you did the first time, either grasping opposite elbows or interlacing fingers. Now, if you're using a blanket or pillow, You'll take that and slip it right underneath your sacrum. You can release the hips onto that prop. So this is a softer version of the pose. And let the arms come up by the sides. Palms might feel nice facing the ceiling in this variation. Whatever you have here, continue to breathe. We'll hold for 3. Active bridges release in 2. In 1, hips can ground down onto the mat. And once they hit down, you can sway the knees side to side. If you're using a prop, when you're ready, you can lift the hips and remove it, regrounding the hips completely onto the mat. We'll be setting up for fallen bridge pose just to release the low back and spine. So simply widen your stance so the feet come to the edges of the mat and let the knees fall together to touch. You can bring your hands over your low belly if that feels comfortable to you. And then let the eyes fall closed again. And as you rest here, feel your breath move in a different way. With each inhale, your belly expands. With each exhale, feel it fall. Take 1 or 2 more full cycles of breath as they come to you. And when you're ready, release the hands. Start to draw the knees into the chest. You can wrap the arms around the shins if you'd like here. It might feel good to rock a little side to side, massaging out the spine. We'll be setting up for a supine twist from here. So let the body find stillness at center if you're moving. The right knee will stay hugged in. Let the left leg come long, and that left heel will come back to the mat. So your hands are going to interlace, fingers rather, will interlace around the right kneecap, and then give your kneecap a little squeeze towards your armpit. You'll take a big inhale to prepare. Exhale, cross the right leg over your body and extend the right arm out wide to a T. So in this twist, your shoulders are your foundation. So the priority is to have both shoulders in contact with the mat, even if that means that right knee lifts. Now I challenge you here, rather than forcing the right knee closer to the mat, let it rest where it wants to and use your breath to move deeper through the twist. So with each inhale, expanding the abdomen, each exhale, your body naturally sinks a bit deeper. We'll take 1 or 2 more full cycles of breath as they come to you. When you're ready with an inhale, start to draw that right knee back to center. Once you arrive at center, you'll start to switch out your legs. So you can pause at center if you'd like, with both knees hugged in, maybe rocking a little side to side to massage out the spine. And when you're ready, we'll set this up on the opposite side. So right leg goes long, left knee hugs in towards your chest, and interlace the fingers around the left knee as you give it a little squeeze towards your armpit. Take a breath in to prepare. Exhale, find your twist. Left leg crosses over the body. Left arm extends out wide to a T. Again, finding that foundation in your shoulders first. From there, find your twist. Take 1 or 2 more full cycles of breath as they come to you. Breath in, you can start to draw the left knee back across your body. Once you arrive there, you can find a neutral position for the legs. So that might mean hugging the knees into the chest. It might feel better to bend the knees and maybe sway them a little side to side. And a final option for a neutral position in the low body is to let the legs go long. Just rest here for a few moments. As you breathe, imagine sending that breath all the way to your tailbone. Each exhale softening just a bit more. Now we'll take 1 more full breath in as it comes to you. Good. Now start to guide the soles of the feet to the mat if they are not already there. Our last posture before we move into final Shavasana will be legs up the wall. And this is a very simple posture. You also have the option to use one of your props if you have them. But this is a pose that restores not only the physical but also the mental body. So you're going to lift both legs up straight. So your feet point towards the ceiling. You can relax the feet. They don't have to be active here. I'd like you to think of your feet and your legs as weights for your low back to really help the hips and the low back reground. Now, they say that this pose helps to calm your nervous system, so it's a terrific posture to do before you go to bed. If this is comfortable for you, this is how you can stay. If this is tender on your low back, you could grab one of your props, either the blanket or the pillow, and just like we did in bridge pose, slip it underneath the sacrum, and then relift the feet one at a time. Sight of your breath, yogis. Begin to come back to it. Take one or two more full cycles of breath as you need. When you're ready to come out of the posture, let one foot at a time come back to the mat. And if you're using a prop, you can press into your feet, lift the hips and remove it, guiding the hips back down to the mat. If you'd like to take any last organic movement here, maybe swaying the legs side to side, you could hug the knees back into the chest, whatever you need. And we'll take the last few moments of practice today in final Shavasana, so you'll let the arms come out wide, legs can go long, and start to take up some space on your mat. Now, the ancient yogis say that this posture is the hardest one of yoga. It's not because it's physically hard, but it is mentally challenging. But we rarely get opportunities to simply be just still. So for these last few moments of your practice here, if thoughts start to come into your mind's eye, refocus your awareness back onto your breath, noticing those slow, steady inhales creating space, and slow, steady exhales helping you to soften. Sight of your breath, begin to deepen it. Take your thumbs, brush them across your fingertips to bring some awareness back into your physical body. Maybe wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingers, or circle out the ankles and the wrists. You can grow that movement as you'd like. Maybe bend the elbows and the knees. Eventually, you could take a long body stretch, reaching arms up overhead, stretch the legs long, take a fresh breath of air in, and a full breath out. You can roll onto either side, finding a fetal position, if that's comfortable in your body. And from there, you'll press yourself up to a seated position. We'll close practice together. So bringing hands to heart center, our seat of compassion. We'll let the thumbs to the third eye, space between the eyebrows. The teacher enlightening me honors and sees the teacher enlighten you. Namaste.